Hey everybody, how's it going? Today I'm going to be installing an aFe differential cover on my 2019 GMC Canyon. Included in this kit is the diff cover itself, which has some nice features and benefits. Comes with all the hardware needed, all the bolts, washers, a couple different longer bolts with some bushings and washers as well. Comes with the drain plug with a crush washer, and then this is the overflow plug on the side. That'll be for how much you fill the oil. Then it also comes with a dipstick that you insert into the top of the diff cover so you can check the level, and then also a sight glass on the side that can allow you to quickly look at the level of your oil and the color of it. I also ordered a new gasket from GM Parts Direct. I could probably reuse the one that's on the truck, but I didn't want to take any chances, so I decided to just order a new one. I'll post the part number to this in the description box. I will also post the part numbers to this kit here from aFe in the description box. I'll be using fresh AC Delco Dexron gear oil, 75W90. The capacity of this diff cover is slightly more than the OEM one. I've got 2 quarts, even though I think the capacity of the stock differential is 1.6 or 1.7 quarts. This one I believe is a full 2 quarts, so I'm gonna go with that. Comes with a nice set of illustrated instructions, very detailed. I've read through them a couple times now, and I think they are nicely put together. And then also some warranty stuff for you to fill out and send back to aFe when you get around to it. My truck has a sway bar installed, so I'm taking a gamble right now and whether or not the differential cover is going to fit because of the sway bar that I have installed. Now you can't really see the differential right now because I've got the spare tire in the way, but I'm going to remove that so we can get better viewage and it's much easier to install everything. So we'll see how it goes. If it doesn't fit, I may leave the sway bar off. I don't know. Anyways, let's dig into it. So I'm not going to remove the sway bar 100% just yet. I'm going to leave it there so that I can see when I get this off and I can test fit the new cover if the sway bar is in fact going to work or not. So I'm going to start removing these bolts for the differential cover. That's the factory cover. These bolts are 1/2 inch, so I'm just going to start removing those. I've got my drain pan here because as I start removing these, the oil is going to start to drain out. So that's what the inside of the differential looks like on a 2019 GMC Canyon. This is an all-terrain, so it's got the G80 locker, which is I think this thing here, main gear there, and all the gears inside. I've never taken off a differential cover in my life, so this is kind of cool to see it firsthand. So this truck only has about 17,500 miles on it, and look how dark that oil is coming out from the factory fill. I'm gonna let this drip for a while. It's still coming out pretty good, and I'm gonna take a break and then I'll come back and start reinstalling the new cover. All right, so the next step is reinstalling the cover with the new gasket that I purchased. and just testing that it fits. It looks like it's going to line up to all the holes. Now you notice there was a couple brackets when I was taking it off that get kind of a special treatment. They don't get a regular bolt with the factory cover. The way they get around that with the aFe kit is there's two slightly longer bolts that are going to be for these two with a bushing, and it gets installed with the bushing so that these can get clipped on in a certain way. So the first step is installing all the bolts without those two spots here, and I'm going to do that now. For these two spots here, I'm going to use these longer bolts with a bushing and two washers. First, I'm going to take this bracket and install a bushing behind it so that it reaches out. And I'm going to also put another washer on the front of the bushing because there's an extra one. And then get it threaded in place. Then tighten it down just a bit. Same with this bracket here. I'm gonna have to do the same thing. Take my bolt, feed it through, then feed the bushing onto the end. I'm gonna put another washer on the bottom of the bushing and then get it in place. Now the torque setting for these hex head bolts, which are 8mm Allen, is 12 to 16 foot-pounds. I don't have a torque wrench that goes that low, so I'm just going to do this all by hand, and I'm just going to give them all nice and snug. And I'm going to use a crisscross pattern, so I'm going to start here because I've tightened this one up at the top, and I'm going to go to this side now and just start working my way around, getting them all nice and snug. The next step I'm going to do is install the drain plug, which is nice. It's got a magnet on the end. It'll catch any metal particles. It also comes with a crush washer, so get that installed over the top. And I'm going to start threading it in from the bottom. And this is a 14mm. I'm going to get that nice and snug, just like that. Next, I'm going to install the sight glass on the side, which is a 1.5-inch socket. I had to go buy this special. I didn't have one in my arsenal of tools. They actually installed it on this thing from aFe directly, but I couldn't get this bolt in without taking this off, so I had to remove it. I had to remove the Teflon tape that they installed, and I put my own sealant thread tape here, Teflon tape or whatever you call it, and then I'm just going to thread it in and tighten it up with my brand new 1.5-inch socket until it's nice and snug. So the next step is filling the oil on the top here, and you'll know when it's full when it starts to come out this little side hole on the driver's side. You can start filling it up. It's about 2 quarts, but it may vary depending on your truck, just how it sits and whatnot. And then when it starts to spill out of there, stop, and then there's a plug that we need to install there. So I've got 2 quarts in there right now, and it didn't overflow just yet. I looked at the sight glass on the side, and there's definitely a good level in there. However, I'm gonna just add a little bit more, and I've got some left over from a previous fill and drain, so I'm gonna just keep going a little bit more which there it is. I probably used this much more in a third quart. There wasn't much left in this one that I had previously. And I'm just going to let that spill out for a minute till it's done, and then I will plug that hole. While that's still draining, I'm going to install the dipstick on the top. It also has a magnet in it, so it gets submersed into the oil and then also picks up any particles, just like the bottom here. I did apply some Teflon tape to this one as well, just to make sure it gets sealed up nice and good. And you just use the end of a 1/2 inch socket to tighten this down. There's no torque spec in the instructions, just get it nice and snug and doesn't need to go crazy. So this has stopped flowing quite a bit. Still a little bit coming out, but that's okay. I'm gonna let it be. So I'm gonna install this cap here on the side, tighten it up, and then the diff cover is installed. Now we're going to see if the sway bar will fit with the new differential cover. Bad news. The Hellwig sway bar does not fit with the aFe diff cover. It touches it right here, and I don't even have it tightened up yet, so I mean, even if I get it perfectly in place, it's super close. See there? And I don't know if I have enough room to play. Alright everyone, so I got the sway bar completely removed. I just decided to just go ahead and take it off. This thing looks pretty cool on here, I gotta admit. Pretty easy install if I had to say myself. It is not really that difficult, but I do like now that I can drain the oil out of the bottom right here and fill it here and watch it drain out of the side when it's full, so that's kind of cool. Here's the sight glass, so you can see there's fresh oil in there. It's kind of cool to take a peek in there every once in a while. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I'd love it if you subscribed. Stay tuned for more videos. We'll see you next time. Later.